It's NFL mailbag time here at Chat Sports. Mitchell Wren's ready to answer all of y'all's questions, but I wouldn't be able to do today's show and probably wouldn't be able to fit in this shirt anymore if it wasn't for our awesome sponsor, Magic Spoon. Head on over to magicspoon.com/chat where you guys can save $5 off on your very first order of healthy cereal. If you got a sweet tooth, personally, if somebody dropped a whole box of this stuff in my Halloween bag, I'd be pretty hyped up. It's healthy cereal that tastes great. magicspoon.com/chat. This first one's coming in from Robert Cupples. What up, Robert? Should Cowboys trade Michael Gallup? If you get a good enough draft pick and replacement, sure, but you're also trying to win now. I mean, the Cowboys are the best team in their division, and they're still going to be trying to go into the Super Bowl, try to win it, obviously, and the team is better with Michael Gallup. I really think Michael is probably one of the most underrated receivers in the league. Right now, he is banged up, and Seti has been doing a pretty good job, but it depends what you're going to get. Third-round pick for Michael Gallup, would that be enough? Let's go to Imthe MAAN, and very humble, was Halloween spirit laugh out loud. What do you think the Broncos do next before the deadline? And if the Chiefs make moves, can they make a comeback? I mean, as long as you got Mahomes, and I've been saying this for a while, as long as you got Mahomes, I really believe, sure, you can obviously make a comeback. In terms of the Broncos, I think that they're going to be more of sellers than buyers. Bryce Callahan, Melvin Gordon, Kyle Fuller, some of the top names. I've seen in some articles Von Miller. I would be shocked if they traded Von, but those first three dudes that I mentioned, definitely somebody to keep an eye on. Let's go to L2 Cloud Z. Where do you think Allen Robinson getting traded to? My top destinations for Robinson, and I did a trade last week, was the New England Patriots. I asked Harrison today, hey, could you give me an Allen Robinson trade? And the deal he ended up saying was a second-round pick. And second-round pick to the New England Patriots, right? So, I think the Patriots just make the most sense there for A-Rob. But if you guys want to let me know where you think he could end up getting dealt, I mean, at the end of the day, I would say yes. He probably needs to get out of Chicago. Somebody can go ahead and pay him. The connection with him and Justin Fields, it's simply not there. So Allen Robinson would be a hell of a name. There is no doubt about that. So who will be the biggest name traded before the NFL trade deadline on November 2nd? Let me know down in the comments. And if a big name player does end up getting dealt, like A-Rob, like Deshaun Watson, like Tua Tagovailoa, anything like that, we're going to be going ahead and making a video about it. So what I want you to do right now is hit that subscribe button. We're also going to be live for the NFL trade deadline. So subscribe. Turn on those notifications. That way you don't miss any of our live shows or the breaking news. If you're wondering how to turn on your notifications, this is how you do it on your mobile device. So when you're on your phone, right, like you're sitting there like this, you see that little bell, you click that bell, and then you got to click all. That way when you get all of our notifications for all the shows that we do. Now maybe, I don't know, you don't have a cell phone in today's world. Hey, I get it. You're on your desktop watching us right now. Same thing. On your mouse pad, scroll up, click the notification bell. It's going to be right here on your screen. And then a nice big old, I was going to say letters, but I guess it's a picture. Then you click all. I don't want you to miss anything because let's just say a week from now you're like, oh, will Mark Ingram get traded to the Saints? I'm going to be like, he already got traded to the Saints. Subscribe, turn on those noties. Let's go to Eric with a great last name. Percentage chance the Raiders make the playoffs. I would probably go ahead and say 80% right now. I believe when I looked at the last, it was like 76.5. I mean, this is a 5-2 football team. If the playoffs were to start today, they would be the number 2 seed behind the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they're going to beat the Giants in Week 9. You got a tough game up against the Chiefs, but if you're 6-2, you like to believe that, guess what? You're going to end up making the playoffs. Let's go to Lakers all-day dope. Who else should the Dolphins trade for? The Dolphins should not trade for anybody. You're 1-5, 1-6 at this point. You haven't looked good whatsoever. I would say probably move on from maybe Austin Jackson, Noah Igbenogany, some of these first-round picks that haven't worked. Try to get even more draft capital and hope for the best going forward. This year is over for Miami. At this point, you are sellers, not buyers. Let's go to Connor Babcock. What do you think about Marlon Mack on the Falcons? I think Mack would be actually an okay fit there. I think Arthur Smith could try to get the best out of him. But I've been very impressed from what I've seen from Cordell Patterson this year. Mike Davis is not very good. I would rather have Marlon Mack than Mike Davis as my overall running back. But if you're Mack, you're going to go to the team that's telling you that, hey, we're going to give you the most opportunities. We're going to see what you can do. But also, if I'm Mack, I'm like, do I really want to go to Atlanta? Because that's going to be a team. They're going to have a serious rebuild coming up here pretty soon. And if I'm Mack, I want to go to a team that can try to compete. Let's go to Tom Downing's actual account. Appreciate the super. What do you think comes from Washington football email investigation? Seems like Gruden is only one being punished. I do think that the whole Gruden thing, he was definitely a scapegoat. It was a little bit of a witch hunt. I know me, since I'm a part of Raider Nation, I want to see some of the other emails that come out. I've been saying for weeks that personally I think Roger Goodell has something to hide, but it's an absolute crime that out of 650,000 emails, people are trying to tell me that the only thing that we found were bad emails from John Gruden. That's BS. Roger Goodell knows it's BS. Everyone who's watching this knows that it's BS right now. The truth will come out, at least I sure damn hope so. Now, if you guys haven't yet, make sure you go ahead and try some Magic Spoon cereal. Instead of eating all the junk candy that you're probably going to end up getting on Halloween, curve that sweet tooth and instead get some healthy cereal. High in protein, low carb, sweet, and delicious. The ingredient that makes this stuff so good, it's called monk fruit. I'm not a doctor, but what I want you to do is take a second or two before you buy some of this stuff at magicspoon.com/chat, and I want you to look up monk fruit. I mean, it's like one of the most craziest things out there right now. Non-GMOs. It's vegan friendly. If anybody's on a keto diet, this stuff is also good for that. It's really hard to be able to find cereal with under 150 calories, no sugar, 4 grams of net carbs, 13 grams per bowl. All right, guys, let's go to this next one coming in from Alex Spicy Sanders. Which player on the Ravens is the most likely to be traded? It's a good question. I mean, I definitely think they should trade for another offensive lineman. I know they've had some injuries, but I would probably go ahead and say Jalen Ferguson. Ferguson would probably be the top player if I was Baltimore, that I would be like, all right, it hasn't really worked out all that well. Move on from him, and maybe another team's like, well, he has some talent. Maybe we can get the most out of him. So I'm going to go ahead and say the most likely player to get traded on Baltimore if they do end up moving people, Jalen Ferguson, also running back Tyson Williams. Let's go to VD. Should the Raiders trade Clelin Ferrell? Yes. And it's not because I don't like Clee. He's a good rotational player for the Raiders, but it's more of a long-term thing. Clelin Ferrell is scheduled to make $9.98 million next year with a $0 million dead cap hit. Raiders aren't going to keep him. I mean, it's just a simple fact. So you trade Clelin Ferrell now, maybe get a 5th, 6th round pick. Somebody will take a shot on the former number 4 overall pick. He gets to go somewhere, gets a brand new start. The Raiders get an extra draft pick and a draft that's going to be hosted in Las Vegas. So yes, I'm saying move on from Clee. Let's go to the sport expert. Browns quarterback trade targets if Baker misses significant time. I mean, I'll actually say that I was pretty impressed by Case Keenum. I thought he did a pretty good job this past week up against Denver. Yes, that first drive was productive, and then they kind of figured him out a little bit. I would say other quarterbacks to keep an eye on. Marcus Mariota is a pretty interesting name. I'll definitely throw that one out there. Nick Foles, though, it's probably Nick Foles. He's probably the top name that a coach, I would imagine, would try to go out and get. Also, Gardner Minshew could be someone to keep in mind. Let's go to Also Lit V4RI. Could we, the Titans, trading for Evan Engram? I think you mean could you see. So I've actually thought of this whole trade idea before with Engram to Tennessee. I think the biggest issue is this. Engram can't block. And Tennessee wants tight ends, and for whatever reason, they like Anthony Ferguson, but they like tight ends that can block. That's what they want. So for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and say no to Evan Engram going to Tennessee. Let's go to NFL boy Brandon. Should the Patriots trade for OBJ? He would be their best receiver, but I'm kind of over the whole OBJ hype. He is the most overrated wide receiver in the National Football League. He was good 5 years ago at this point. Sure, he's had a few 1,000-yard seasons, but he's got injuries. He hasn't been all that productive when he has been on the field. If New England wanted to be like, hey, I'll give you a 4th-round pick for OBJ, go ahead and do it. But Cleveland would be dumb to accept that trade because it is still OBJ. Let's go to Everyday Jam. I appreciate the super chat, man. Should Raiders trade for Poona, Hargrave, Fletcher, Cox? So Poona Ford's not going to happen. He just, I think, had a brand new deal with Seattle, so that one won't happen. Javon, Hargrave, and Fletcher Cox. The more likely one out of those two would probably be Fletcher, but I personally do not see Philadelphia giving up on either of those two dudes. If you want to go out and trade for a defensive tackle, the one that I believe makes the most sense and actually could end up getting dealt is Tim Settle, who is a defensive tackle for Washington, a former first-round pick from Alabama. Washington's already committed some money to what's his name? Jonathan. Oh, my goodness. I can't think of his name. Their other DT is Jonathan Allen. Thank you. I could only think of his first name. And I think that Tim Settle will be the next name, the top DT that could end up getting moved. Or the Jets have a few names. Sheldon Rankin's another one. Let's go to Chili Pepper Jon. Would the Steelers be smart to trade a 5th-round pick for Clelin Ferrell? Would it be smart? I want to say yes, because he was the number 4 overall pick. And I know people can say what you want. Number 4 overall pick for Clelin never was going to work out. But I did have him projected as a late round first, early second round pick. Sometimes all guys need is a change of scenery, and then they can get into more untapped potential. If I was Ferrell, I would want to go to a team like Pittsburgh. And if you can go ahead and pull off the deal, shit, let's make it happen. So what do you guys think here? Let me know what your Super Bowl prediction is this year. We're in Week 8. We're almost halfway through the season, and I would imagine your Super Bowl predictions are probably a little bit different than what they were in Week 1. So here's your opportunity. Let me know down in the comments your Week 1. Yes, your Week 1. I just saw something pop up about a trade, and I almost had a heart attack. Nothing happened. It just gave me a little heart attack. Let me know what your Super Bowl prediction is this year. Please, please, please. I'll be looking. Next question coming up here on NFL Daily is from, it's actually a super chat from Untouchable Raider. What up, brother? Should we draft Derek King? He can be our Wildcat and backup quarterback in the next Murray. Yeah, he's not going to be the next Murray. Quarterback 2, you're not going to do that. Peterman, later you think Bisaccia is like Reed. The first question is who's going to be the Raiders head coach next season, because I really believe if they bring in a new head coach, which they likely probably will, Bisaccia's been doing a great job, he'll probably try to go ahead and bring in maybe his own quarterback, but I'm good on Derek King. I actually don't really think he's going to be all that good. Let's go to Trace twice. Do you think Duke Johnson is worth an ad in a PPR league? All right, so I actually kind of like this question. Obviously, I'm a fantasy football nut. So the Miami Dolphins, they went out and they signed Duke Johnson. He's right now on their practice squad. I know a lot of Dolphins fans were excited about this. He's the all-time leading rusher at Miami. The real connection is, though, Duke once played with, guess who, Deshaun Watson. If Watson has a chance to go into Miami, I say yes. Malcolm Brown just went on IR, and we know Duke is actually, I believe he's the only running back in NFL history, his first 4 seasons in the league, to have over 50 receptions as a running back. I believe that's the stat. So, yes, I actually would pick him up in a PPR league. Let's go to Mr. Wheezer. What other corners can the Titans get? Oh, boy. I mean, Bryce Callahan is actually another one. Kyle Fuller is definitely a name to keep in mind. Damon Arnett could actually be somebody. Amik Robertson is another name to definitely monitor. Trying to think of some other teams. Joe Hayden from the Steelers could be a name. I'm going through all these NFL teams right now. No other names besides those are popping up in my head. Who? Lonnie Johnson from the Texans. I mean, if you're trying to buy, the issue is it's an interdivision trade, so that usually doesn't happen, but could be some names to at least keep in mind. All right, so what are you guys going to be for Halloween? I'm going to a Halloween party on Saturday with my girlfriend, and we're going to dress up from as the show Squid Game. I'm going to be one of the players. Alex is going to be the master, and then my dog Chuck is going to be a VIP. But let me know, what will you be for Halloween? It's October 31st. It's going to be Sunday. I am excited. I know the Raiders don't play this week, but I've been told I'm allowed to wear my Halloween costume into the office as long as it's not too crazy. So let me know what you guys are going to be. I see Joe Exotic from Zachary, and I like that one a lot. Now, if you want to see my Halloween costume, go ahead and give me a follow on Instagram at MitchellRen365. If you want to tag me on any of your costumes, if maybe you're dressing up, I don't know, as a Raiders player, as an NFL player, if anybody can dress up as one of us here at Chat Sports, Harrison Graham, Chase Sr., me, Tom, any of the on-air hosts, if you want to dress up as Jeremy Chuggs or Trace back here, please tag me in it, MitchellRens365. I promise you, you will see it on a show here at Chat Sports. Let's go to Greg the Man 6969. Who should the Browns start at quarterback? Case Keenum or Baker Mayfield? So basically, you're going to get an injured Baker Mayfield or Case Keenum. I mean, if I'm being 100% legit, I would say Case. I thought Case did a good job, and a healthy Case Keenum to me is better than probably a 60% Baker Mayfield. And I get that Baker's tough, and I get that he's trying to get a brand new contract, but he's also got to be looking long-term, and there's just no way he's going to be 100% healthy out there. So I'm actually going to go ahead and say Case Keenum. If you guys want to get your votes in, type K for Keenum or B for Baker. Let's go to Evan. You're next up here on NFL Daily. If Minnesota beats Dallas, I think they are playoff contenders. I 100% agree with that. Minnesota right now, I believe, is 3-3 on the season. And when you really think about how their year has gone, there's only been one team that I can legitimately say should have beat the Arizona Cardinals, and that was Minnesota. And whatever the hell that kicker's name is, missed a 34-yarder, should have been a chip shot, and instead they lost 34-33. If this Vikings team was 4-2 and they beat the Cardinals, everyone would be saying they're a playoff caliber team. So yes, I 100% agree with you. Let's go to J.U. Garcia. Are the Seahawks buyers or sellers? They are sellers because they also don't have much draft capital to buy. They got no first-round picks because of the Jamal Adams deal. If I was Seattle, I'd be shipping people away. The other issue is this. I really think that Seattle is probably one of the worst rosters in the NFL. It just gets covered up by Russell Wilson. If you're a Seahawks fan, you should be really nervous about the longevity and the future of your football team.